Okay, welcome everyone. I'll just wait a minute for a few more people to join in, and then we'll get started with the call. There's about 20 of us in here for now, and Terry's with me today. So it's going to be a relatively brief call, but a lot of exciting news and a breakdown of the last event as well. Just going to wait a minute. So for those who are already here, I encourage you to stay to the end because we have an exciting announcement at the end. And also we'll be answering a few community questions by the end of the call. And the AMA chat is still open now, so I invite you to go there. And if you have any question regarding Taiga, now's the time. Okay, I don't feel like many more people are going to join now. If they do, they can join during the call. So we'll get started by introducing ourselves. I think everyone knows Terry here. I'm new to the team. My name is Adam, and I'm joining the growth team at Taiga. And I'll be helping the team with developing the project and growing you guys, the community. I'll give Terry a minute to give us a quick update on where we are. But before that, I just want to give a quick breakdown of the second event. Explore the Magical Trail. It was an event that was for the community members that have missed out on the first event and the first airdrop. So the people who have qualified for the first event couldn't receive an airdrop for the second event. However, it was very important to still participate because you could rack up XP points still and earn a higher rank, because we're planning to give the system of levels as a tracker or camper a lot more sense in the future. So it is definitely worth it to remain an active member of the community right now, and that will come in the near future. So to give a quick breakdown, just shy of 15,000 people have participated in the last event. It was a very successful one. We've counted 7,769 campers, 550 trackers, and the Discord is growing rapidly at 39,000 members, and Twitter is just as well. We have 21,000 of you, so it is definitely significant numbers, and the community is growing day by day. So we wanted to thank you for that, and we appreciate all the engagement, especially in the community aspect of it. A lot of memes are coming through, and the chat's very active, so we'd like to thank you for that. And the airdrops have been processed, and if you stick around to the end of the event, you'll be happy you did, because we have a very exciting announcement for the future launch of Taiga. And now I'll give Terry a minute to give us an update of where we are globally on the roadmap and what's to come in the coming days.
Cool, thanks, Adam. And first of all, I think everyone should give Adam a warm welcome to the team. Not only is he going to be helping out with Taiga, obviously he's going to be doing a lot of work with us around the launch of Tapio, which is rapidly approaching. I'm sorry, I have to apologize that we're switching up the times for these calls because I've just been on the road over the last couple of weeks, so I'm in different time zones. I know probably this is not the ideal time because we're missing a good part of Asia, and I know we have quite a number of community members in the Eastern European region. But again, right, this call is going to be recorded, and for anyone that's interested, you can always go onto our YouTube to listen in on the session. So Adam just covered some of the stats that we've got for our second community event, Explore the Magical Trail. Again, right, as I stated last time, the objective of that event was to get new members as well as to attract some of the existing Karura Defi users. Some of the things that we're designing for the month of March is to how to figure out, who the user champion or who the product champion is, as well as who are the evangelists are, right? So I'm not going to share too much right now on this call because we're still finalizing the details for that. But expect a new type of campaign to come out just around discovering our enthusiasts. So I would probably say everyone on the call right now that's taking the time to join would probably fit that camp. So definitely stay tuned to our Discord as we will be rolling out some new programs where you guys can actually join and we can have meaningful discussion. That's like probably the number one priority that we need to work on to filter out our existing membership base. In terms of technology and product, what we've been doing over the last 2 weeks now is just testing the Taiga mainnet. So we've deployed mainnet locally, and we're able to play around with the TaiKSM pool. So, one thing that we need to make an effort to promote to our users is that, the purpose of having TaiKSM, because I'm already seeing quite a number of questions in AMA chat asking, what exactly is TaiKSM, right? So I think this is also a good chance for us to really leverage the Kusama network, as well, the Taiga project, right, to really educate the concept of the synthetic asset. Basically, if anybody believes in the Sama ecosystem, then DOT as well as KSM, these two are basically their mainstay assets on these two networks. Outside of the pair chains, native tokens, DOT and KSM will play a crucial role. So obviously the problem with that is that for DOT as well as KSM, there will be multiple versions, meaning that there will be crowd loan versions, there will be liquid staking versions, as well as other forms of derivatives. This is sort of like the thesis or the bet that we're making when we're building out this project. It's kind of similar to how ETH right now on the Ethereum network has turned out to have so many other different versions of ETH. Like there's Aave ETH, there's like Lido, like ST ETH, and all these different kinds. Ultimately, all these different versions obviously have their own benefits, but also the problem is that these different versions of the asset, these derivatives, also creates liquidity silos, meaning that those liquidity are kind of pocketed in a standalone island where they cannot be used efficiently. So that is the problem that we're trying to address. And our solution to that is by introducing a synthetic asset, which is TaiKSM. Simply put, it's a roll-up of the different versions of DOT or KSM so that, this synthetic version retains all of the underlying benefits, whether it's yield or whether it's like crowd loan rewards. But at the same time, this version can be used in different applications across the board, whether it's lending or swaps or movements between parachains. So ultimately, for project teams, just supporting this one version would allow them to really bootstrap usage as well as not have to worry about the different versions because it's because TaiKSM is a roll up of the different versions of KSM. So I'll leave it at that. I kind of sound like a broken record already, but I think it's important to drive that point across, just so then you guys can understand. And also, right, like on the product side, we are working on fine tuning again the stable swap algorithm. Because the stable swap algorithm is what's powering the synthetic asset to maintain that stable peg. So what does that mean? ultimately, if let's say you're contributing liquidity to the Thai KSM pool, which is right now made up of KSM and LKSM, from a trader's point of view, you want as tight of a spread as possible, meaning like the exchange rate is 1-to-1. Okay, so that's the only way where, if you have a request, like you need to get in and out of, let's say, LKSM into KSM, you would choose to do it, via the Thai KSM pool, because we're able to offer the best execution. And when I say that, we actually have done quite a bit of back testing to make sure, the not only the slippage but the exchange rate, given the pool is reasonably sized, it's a much better execution versus doing that swap on the existing Karura decks. And that's also one of the reasons why we are integrating the Thai KSM as well as the Thai KSM stable swap onto Karura itself. It's because they also realize that we're able to offer a much tighter execution. So for anybody that is holding on to KSM or LKSM and has a need to get in and out of it, you can just go directly onto the Karura decks and then select these two pairs, and then you will see that it's powered by Taiga Protocol. So again, right, using an analogy from the Ethereum world, just so that you guys can get a better understanding, is that if let's say you want to make a stable coin swap, like you want to turn your USDC into UST, let's say, I think on the Ethereum side, a lot of people would choose to do it on Curve, and the reason being is because they're able to offer a very efficient or is a very tight execution. So meaning that your one USDC would get you one or either close to one UST. That's the most ideal situation for people that are looking to make that swap transaction. So Curve obviously became really popular with their stablecoin swap, but now they're also venturing into the long tail assets. But then for us, you can sort of look at us as, if you guys don't want to know anything about the synthetic assets, the most basic thing that you guys can, look at us as, it's a stable swap for DOT and KSM. That's a really dumbed down version already. Okay, so meaning that right now there's only we're only supporting LKSM and KSM, but we foresee that there will be crowd loan versions of KSMs as well, similar to how there's crowd loan versions like liquid crowd loan for DOT. And not to forget, pretty much every parachain will have their own version of the liquid crowd loan KSM and liquid crowd loan DOT. So you can imagine how many different variations of assets there will be, and there would be a need for users to sort of get in and out of it, not only quickly and efficiently, but also in a cost-effective way. So managing slippage as well as managing cost, all of these can be achieved, with the Taiga protocol, as well as Tapio, which we're working on. So enough on that side around value proposition, and I just want to make that point really clear. So let me see what else is on the list. So we've kind of covered the community. We covered the product. So okay, one thing around. Sorry, I'll turn it over to Adam.
No worries. Do you want me to go now?
Yes, please.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's never a bad idea to repeat the fundamentals of Taiga or any project for that matter. Clarity cannot hurt. So I think if I had to give my opinion personally, the value proposition itself as it is, without any kind of launch incentives, is already massive. And the bigger the Polkadot and the Kusama ecosystems grow, the more parachains can plug in, the most complexity there is to the ecosystem, the more value there is to a protocol that simplifies all that and kind of create a silo where everyone can look the same way, no matter where they come from. And no, definitely. So I think it would be time for us to announce that on top of all the advantages, the obvious advantages that the Taiga protocol has, we'd like to introduce our launch event. So as you've seen on our Twitter, probably, we've created a cool teaser, and we announced that on Tuesday, so Tuesday the 8th of March at 11 Hong Kong time, that would be 4 a.m. CET, for instance. I'll let you calculate because there's so many time zones. We are launching Taiga on the Karura mainnet, and for that launch, obviously there is some incentives. So we are thrilled to announce our liquidity bootstrapping event that will last over 2 weeks. So it will launch on next Tuesday, the 8th of March, and last up until the 22nd of March at midnight. And it is the perfect occasion for all of the early supporters, specifically you guys, because you've joined the call. So I'm guessing you're part of the most engaged end of the community. So it is on top of all the advantages that we have with the protocol, it is a moment for you to benefit from all those incentives. So I'll be asking you, Terry, about depending on who I am, the use cases, the advantages that I can get from that launch. Let's say I am already a Karura user right now, and I'm holding KSM, LKSM. What should I do on that day exactly?
Yeah, great. So the launch is happening. The mainnet launch is happening. We had to kind of push it out. It was supposed to be on March 1st, but we had to push it out to March 8th because the market was really volatile over the last couple of days. But now that we have date set, we're making a big push over the next couple of days on this mainnet launch. So everything that we're doing is to gear up for the Taiga mainnet launch. So how that works is you would first withdraw your existing LP position that's being made up of KSM and LKSM. And then you would redeposit that into Taiga Protocol, so to power the Thai KSM pool. If let's say you are just holding on to KSM or LKSM, you can also provide liquidity from a single side. So meaning that this pool also support single-sided staking. Okay, so because we're trying to include as many people as we can, as many LPs as we can. So once it's launched, whether you're an existing LP on Karura or you're somebody new that's just holding on to KSM or LKSM, you can deposit that directly into Taiga Protocol to help us bootstrap the Thai KSM pool. The next question is, what are the benefits to providing liquidity over there versus Karura? There's a few things just specific to liquidity providers, right? Number one is obviously reduced impermanent loss, because this is what I mentioned about the beauty of the stable swap algo behind us, is that we can enable a really tight trading band between the two assets, in this case the LKSM and KSM. So from a liquidity provider standpoint, this tremendously reduces impermanent loss. So you don't need to worry about getting an exceptionally large portion of one asset versus the other. Okay, that's probably the number one benefit to providing liquidity on our side versus the existing channels, or definitely better than just holding onto your KSM and LKSM. The second benefit is that by being an LP, you can also earn swap as well as redemption fees. That is paid out in the form of Thai KSM. So in terms of numbers, swap fees is going to be 0.25% and redemption fees is going to be 0.3%. The reason why we're saying that it's a roll-up of the benefits is because the LKSM staking yield are being retained and being spread across to people that are holding Thai KSM. Okay, so definitely you're not missing out on the yield from the underlying LKSM. That is being retained and redistributed to all Thai KSM holders. So your next question might be, so if let's say I was holding LKSM and I'm contributing to your pool, that means, I'm going to get less yield from LKSM because it's being spread out to everyone that's holding Thai KSM. The answer is yes, but keep in mind that the additional benefits of holding Thai KSM, which is, I just mentioned the swap and redemption fees, the reduced impermanent loss, and finally, the last benefit is providing or holding Thai KSM gets you usage-based, Thai airdrop, meaning that the more you use the protocol, the probability of getting a Taiga token airdrop would also be higher. Okay, so with all these benefits added together, it actually outweighs, the sacrifice that you're making for contributing your LKSM and spreading, a little bit thinner from the staking yield. Okay, so just to talk a little bit more around the last benefit, which is, just overall usage, right, in the Taiga protocol. Number one is going to get you usage-based Thai airdrop. We're not releasing the details yet around the usage base, but basically, if you make a swap or if you contribute liquidity or you're holding on to Thai KSM, these are all the activities that would count towards usage. Okay, so for the period of 2 weeks, try to use it as much as you can. Experience it, right? Like experience the rewards that you might be able to receive. From an LP point of view, you can definitely experience the reduced impermanent loss. Okay, and then also by using the Taiga protocol during this 2-week period, you will get whitelisted, okay, for any of the upcoming crowd sale events. So that would qualify you for either on the Taiga side or Tapio side. We're still deciding on whether we want to do a crowd sale for Taiga. But in the event that, we will have one, then, basically you guys participating in the protocol over the next 2 weeks would get you whitelist access. Is number one, reduce impermanent loss. Number two, earn swap fees and redemption fees that are paid out in Thai KSM. Number three, you can earn yield that gets generated from the underlying LKSM, also paid out in the form of Thai KSM. And then number four is usage in Taiga protocol will qualify you for usage-based airdrop as well as whitelisting for upcoming, crowd sale events. Okay, that's just the benefits for LPs. I'll turn it over to you, Adam.
Thank you, Terry. It's an amazing recap. We can't stress it enough. If you are a member of this community and are looking forward to participate in the protocol, now is your time because you have all of those amazing extra incentives. And we're on purpose not revealing the exact amount or conditions of the airdrop for you to actually thrive in the platform and use it all the way through, day in, day out. And that's the way we also collect feedback. So Tuesday is going to be 11 Hong Kong time. So we will share an announcement on the Discord channel with the details and the different time zones and everything. So look forward to that, and you should be receiving that. So on the Discord announcement channel, on the official Taiga Twitter, and through the newsletter, which I encourage you to join if you didn't sign up just yet. We have a little bit of time left, so I will turn over to the community and ask some of the questions. If you still have time now to go to the AMA chat and ask any question that you might think it needs answering, and we'll select the most interesting, relevant ones. So I'll start by the one that came up the most yesterday, Terry, is how do you plan on attracting future stakeholders such as different parachains or Circle or possibly Tether or Terra, any kind of stakeholders in the future? How do we as a team plan to attract them or convince them?
Okay, I'll try to tackle this one first. It's a good question. So obviously, we're a protocol, and I think a lot of people need to understand that currently there aren't as many protocol teams building in the Kusama ecosystem relative to parachain teams. A lot of teams are actually focused on building their own parachains. So then, on the protocol level, the space is actually, relatively wide open. We are parachain agnostic, meaning that our protocol can be deployed on top of, substrate-based chains or EVM-based chains. One of the things that we've been sort of working on over the last, 2 weeks or so is to configure our solution to also fit into the EVM module, because obviously Akala as well as Karura will be introducing EVM Plus soon. So then that makes our solution very well-rounded in terms of integration with parachains that are more focused around EVM compatibility. Okay, so for us, ultimately, what we're trying to do for the entire Kusama ecosystem is to really help address those fragmented liquidity that's sort of like, being isolated via different forms, right? So obviously, we're starting out on the Akala as well as Karura side, but definitely need to explore into other parachains as well. And, to answer your question, how do we do it? Obviously, it's a demonstration by example, right? Meaning that, if we're able to build a successful use case on Akala as well as Karura, really being able to drive across, the benefits of having, Thai KSM, the reduced impermanent loss, the efficient, trade, the efficient swap transaction, as well as the use case for Thai KSM, then we will take this as sort of the best practice and present it to other parachain teams so that we can help solve their, fragmented liquidity on that parachain. Okay, so I would say, the main driver for adoption is through, how much of a success that we can possibly, carry out, on the Akala as well as Karura side. We're pretty confident around that because obviously Akala and Karura is positioned to be the DeFi hub, and with their introduction of the AUSD stablecoin, they're really trying to become that de facto stablecoin for the Kusama universe. So definitely there will be quite a bit of attention as well as traffic and liquidity on this specific network. And if we're able to help them take care of their fragmented liquidity, we believe we can replicate, this success with other parachain projects. So how we're going to do it, it's basically a lot of conversations and a lot of, BD outreach, basically. Mostly, we're relatively connected with the existing Kusama universe with the different parachains. So, and there are conversations that are currently happening, whether it's a substrate-based or EVM-based parachain. So that's going to be an ongoing effort. The second part to your question, which addresses stablecoins, is obviously, there are teams that, and I kind of shared this last time, is there are teams that are working on bringing stablecoin into the Kusama universe. So Wormhole is currently being integrated, and then obviously we need to be at the forefront of that, because once stablecoins comes in, what we can produce or propose is a synthetic stablecoin that makes up of, let's say, the AUSD pairing with the version, let's say a USDC that gets bridged over. So we can come up with, let's say, like a Thai USD or a Tap USD, and then the benefits would be the same, like much tighter swap execution, reduced impermanent loss, and then rolling up all of the underlying benefits of those stablecoins and actually be able to use it. So that is something that's probably the next big opportunity outside of taking care of the DOT and KSM asset, is the stablecoin asset class. It's something that we're monitoring actively, on our side, but ultimately that is what that is the roadmap. Not sure if that answers your question, Adam.
Yeah, it's amazing. Thank you. It's I think it's always that one big question that we have to start with. A lot of people are wondering about that, and it's always a big one to answer. So thank you for that, Terry.
All good.
Another interesting question. I don't know how much time we have that, but another interesting question is: can we give a quick recap of the use cases, the role of the TAI token?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a few things that you can use, right? The TAI token is the governance token for the Taiga Protocol. The second, I guess, utility of the TAI token is that it actually captures a portion of the protocol revenue. It's used to purchase TAI token on the open market. So meaning that there's a relatively natural buy pressure on the open market for TAI token, as long as there's enough usage, or at least there's decent usage in the Taiga protocol. Okay, so those TAI tokens that gets purchased on the open market, has two benefits. Number one, it removes some supply from the open market, and number two is that those TAI tokens that gets purchased actually goes back into the community treasury. Community treasury is one piece that we haven't shared too much on, but for those who are actually, spending the time to look at the tokenomics, we actually have a sizable community treasury, meaning that all the events that right now we're running, like so far two, we'll be starting the third one soon. All of these events are being powered through by the community treasury. So what does that mean, right? Like, why are we funneling a part of the tokens that are being purchased in the open markets to the community treasury? Is because we want to have a natural, sustainable way to continue to give back to the community. Okay, so it's ultimately like a flywheel effect that if, let's say, you're holders of KSM, you contribute liquidity, a portion of those fees goes back to buying the TAI tokens from the open market, and those TAI tokens then goes back to the community treasury, which then goes back to the community itself. Okay, so everything that you guys, all the activities that you guys are doing, all the usage that you guys are doing, are ultimately benefiting yourself. Okay, and we will not run into the situation where the community treasury would just deplete, because by design, that's a flywheel model. Okay, so that's the second, I guess, biggest utility of the TAI token, is to really help us bootstrap and sustain. Okay, because I feel like a lot of other protocols, they, especially for the ones that are, maybe in their second or third year, they would need to probably revamp their token model, because they're starting to see their community treasury, or they don't have enough budget, okay, to continue to grow their community. Okay, so that's actually pretty that's problematic, right? Because basically every crypto project, I would say, have to live or die, by how much of a community or how sustainable the community is. So that's by design what the TAI token is set out to do. And then the third one, the third use case for it is, as I mentioned, one of the functions of Taiga Protocol is to solve for mercenary liquidity. Okay, so the whole concept around protocol owned liquidity, how do we, with all those TAI KSM that people are holding, what can they use, with it, what can they do with it, is they can actually contribute that back into a common pool, where this common pool can be rented out to project teams that needs to bootstrap their second LP pool. Okay, so I'm not going to spend too much time to talk about this, because we're still building out this function. But ultimately, what happens is this is another way of value capture for the TAI token, because when those synthetic asset liquidity gets rented out to project teams, those liquidity would generate a swap fee. And then again, those swap fees would then come back to people that are contributing to the liquidity, contributing to the synthetic asset pool liquidity. Okay, and then again, a portion of those protocol revenue, the holders that are holding on to the TAI tokens can then direct, can decide how to direct those synthetic asset liquidity. So if let's say I'm a TAI token holder, I would have the voting power to see, okay, I want these TAI KSM to be allocated to project 123 because project 123 seems to be more promising. They should be able to generate more swap fees, and then ultimately that benefits the people that are contributing that synthetic. But for this one, for this particular function, it's not going to be up and running at launch. Whereas for the others that I mentioned, it's going to be up and running. So there's going to be more details around this piece as we develop the project.
Amazing, thank you, Terry. So Saffron, I hope you've had a good summary of all the use cases for the TAI token. I think we ran out of time in terms of questions. Do you have more time, Terry, or should I give a recap of the call?
Yeah, we can try to finish up by the 45 mark.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do that.
We have like 4 minutes.
Yeah, let's do that. In terms of question, we also have this I would be unable to answer myself. If we move our LP token, can we keep our loyalty bonus before the end? So I'm guessing it means, is there any kind of lockup period? For
the LP tokens?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
So basically, Herv, I think your question, like correct us if we're wrong, right? But ultimately, once you're holding on to TAI KSM, the only requirement is to hold it for the duration of the 2 weeks. Okay, meaning that we will be taking a snapshot towards the end of the 2 weeks. Starting count on March 8th, all the way to 22nd of March, hold it throughout that period of time. So then we can actually register you as one of the addresses that's holding on to the TAI KSM token. Then, you would be able to qualify for all those benefits that I mentioned earlier on the call. Mm-hmm. But let's say if you're just, if you've minted TAI KSM and then on the 8th, and then you want to get out of the position on, let's say, the 10th, then most likely you won't be picked up on the snapshot.
Cool. So I hope, Hervé, I guess, you've had the answer to your question. I'll answer this one myself because it is community oriented. Given that the use of the Taiga protocol is quite complex to understand for beginners, have you planned to translate the articles into different languages? I think the French-speaking community of Taiga would be happy to have videos and articles translated into French. So we are in the process of building an entire community strategy, and amongst which there is recognition of those sub-communities. And I am Le Comte de Monte Cristo. I am French myself, so I'll be in touch with the French community directly, and if any unclarities remain, I'll help translate anything needed. But definitely, as the community grows, there are, as we mentioned on previous calls, there are many communities that grow in different countries, and that's the role of ambassadors and moderators, right? We're trying to have them as diversified as possible to keep in touch with the community and have someone that's been briefed and has the answers to help out the average user, let's say. And next to that, we also plan on, I'm not going to share too many details, but to help the community with global DeFi education to learn more globally. So it is definitely worth it now to remain an active member of the community, because all of that is coming. And I'd like to add on top of that being an active member of the community now and in the next coming weeks will prove itself worth it in the future, because we will build on the existing level of a system of levels and definitely build an incentive-based system for people who are active and providing help to the community overall. So yes, the potentially will be translated content, and if not, there will be someone from the team or an ambassador that would be ready to help, and in French definitely because I am here, but in different languages in the future, of course. Yeah. If I have any other question for you, I think we ran out of time anyway, and we covered the most important part. So just for a summary, Tuesday, 11 Hong Kong time, this is the launch date of our bootstrapping event. This is the launch of Taiga on the Karura mainnet. Keep an eye on the announcement channel, the Twitter, as well as the newsletter, if you have subscribed to it. If not, I encourage you to join. You'll get all the details in a Medium article. So keep an eye out for that. And Terry, I'll leave you with the last word.
Yeah, cool. So I think it's not bad that people are trickling in throughout the call. And I think the questions are great. Honestly, this is something that like we want more of. Whatever that's going on in the AMA chat versus everything that's going on the Taiga chat, right? Like I feel like there's a lot more substance that are being discussed in the AMA chat. So again, right, one thing, something that we'll push out next week, just finalizing the details, is a I don't want to use the words exclusive, but something that's a little bit more intimate, right? Like a more intimate interaction between you guys and I, as well as the core team. We'll get that channel up and running, and it's going to be invitational based only. Okay, so meaning that you guys will get access to some of the more engaging type of information about the project, and personally would love to get to know you guys, like in terms of your preference for rollouts, as well as how to build out a community, right? So it's always good to start with a small group, and you guys taking the time to join the call shows us that dedication. So I appreciate that. But yeah, no, that's it. I thank you guys for tuning in, because I know it's definitely late for those who are tuning in from Asia, and I know it's like after 5 in the European region. We're just starting out our day in the US, but yeah, I look forward to the next one, and do stay tuned for all the sort of materials that's coming out for the March 8th launch. Don't have to worry too much about jumping in right on the 8th, because we will be running it for 2 weeks. So yeah, so it's I guess we'll continue the conversation here on Discord or over on Telegram. That's all, guys.
Absolutely. I'll let you head out, Terry. And
Okay.
I'll just recap real quick with the community and end the call.
Okay, cool. Thanks, folks. Have a good one.
Thank you, Terry. Bye bye.
Bye.
Okay, guys. I'll leave the chat on for a little bit if there's any more questions. Just keep an eye on the announcement channels, because it's not gonna be an announcement in the next hours. It's gonna take it's over the few days, so it's kind of you're very early if you're here in the call right now. So yeah, if I encourage you to seize the opportunity to prepare for the launch, and any kind of suggestion, community oriented, is welcome. There's a general chat, and we're all open. Don't be afraid to ask questions, and I'll leave you at that. And look out for the future announcements, and we're excited to have you in the community, guys. Take care.